Which is the best way to teach your course? Slideshow? Video? Be on screen? Or just use a voiceover? If you're unsure of how to best teach your online course, then by the end of this video, you will have a clear idea of the best approach for you, your client, and your topic. If you haven't already figured out your topic or who your ideal client is, then be sure to check out previous videos I've done. I'll leave a link up in the cards as well as links in the description below. And once you've done that, the next thing to do is to figure out how to best teach your course. Now I know the temptation may be just to keep it simple and do it all on the computer without you on screen at all, and maybe that is the best approach, but maybe it's not. So here are some things to keep in mind to help you make the best decision. If you're teaching something that's on the computer, like software-based, or if it's quite technical and you need charts and graphs and all that kind of thing to illustrate what you're talking about, then using a slideshow format would be a good way to go. You can use software like ScreenFlow or Camtasia to record your course if you're doing it all on the computer. You can use PowerPoint or Keynote to actually do the slide presentations. And I would also recommend getting a microphone, an external microphone, to record good audio, because that's going to be better than using your onboard microphone. The advantages to recording like this is that there's less of a learning curve. You might have to learn how to use ScreenFlow or Camtasia or even the Keynote and PowerPoint, but it's not like you have to learn a whole lot of extra equipment in order to produce a video course, for example. So it's a much simpler way to go, and it doesn't really matter what you look like either, because you could be sitting in your PJs if you wanted to. The disadvantage to this though is that your student is less likely to connect with you, and with video becoming more and more popular and almost expected, and likely to become more so in the future years than it is now even, I think you would be doing yourself a disservice and your student a disservice if you're not on camera at all. It can decrease course completion rates if your student is not engaged, and it can have a lot of negative impact on your business. So whereas you may have been able to get away with that in the past, I think that's becoming less and less so as the years go on. Now you could do a combination where you are using video along with your slideshow, and that's what I would recommend these days, because at least you can then build that connection and rapport with your student because they can see you on screen. So you can basically have like a thumbnail of you down on the bottom of the screen while you show them the slides. Now, if you want to not have you on screen the whole time and you want them to focus on the slides, that's fine. But at least do a welcome video, or maybe have yourself on screen for part of the time, maybe at the beginning and the end or something like that of each lesson. That way you can build that connection with your student much more. Now if you're teaching something that's very visual, like in the arts or crafts or cooking, a trade or any of those kinds of things, then I would recommend using video, because video can best illustrate what it is that you're teaching. As long as you have a camera, and that could be your phone, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I would recommend also getting an external microphone, and again, it doesn't have to be expensive. And as long as you have good lighting, and you can use natural lights or you could use studio lights, and they don't have to be expensive either, then you've got the basics of a good video setup. The advantage to using video to produce your course is that you can show step-by-step how to do something, and often step-by-step how-tos is the best way for a student to learn something new. So that's really helpful, and also they get to connect with you on a much deeper level if you're actually on camera as well. However, if you prefer not to be on camera yourself, you can still do a video-based course by using the video to show step-by-step how to do what it is you're teaching without you being on camera, and you can just use a voiceover. So that is a possibility, but like I said, you still want to consider what I've said before about the connection with your student and the lack of that when you're not on screen. The disadvantage to using video is that it takes more time to produce the course, and it's a higher learning curve because you have to learn how to use the equipment and how to work it all together, and it can seem a little bit overwhelming. But let me assure you, it doesn't have to be perfect, and I think we have this expectation that it's got to be this polished, perfect course if we're using video, and it doesn't have to be. As long as you're relatable, you're connecting with your student, and you're delivering valuable content, those are the most important things. And if it's a little bit imperfect and rough around the edges, it really doesn't matter too much. And there are some simple tips that you can apply, and there's several videos on this channel that can help you to improve the look of your video as well. Now, when it comes to how to approach your course, I do encourage you not to just settle for doing a slideshow on the screen without you on camera, unless it is genuinely the best way to present your course, or it's the only way that your course is going to get done. So if your course is not going to actually happen, if you have to be on camera, then, forget about the camera, make sure the course gets done, that's more important. But if you can, I would encourage you to be on camera at least some of the time. So for the welcome video, or preferably for a little bit more of it throughout the context of the course, that would really help with building that connection with your student. If you're mainly teaching on the computer and using a slideshow format, then you could use a thumbnail of yourself at the bottom and have that running throughout your slideshow so they can see you interacting with them. And that's one way you can do it. Or you could have yourself at the beginning and the end of the slideshow, kind of an intro and a summary. Or you could also think about coming on screen. So if you're going into detail on a particular subject and you're going to be sticking with one screen for a little while, you may want to come back onto screen and have yourself fully on screen to explain those details. So those are some of the ways that you can use video even if you're using a slideshow format. Now, I would personally use video to teach my course because I think video is the way to go, and it's the easiest way to learn something because you can show step by step how to do something, and that's the easiest way to learn, is actually watching someone else do it. So that would be my recommendation. Now, if being on camera and using all the tech intimidates you, then be sure to stick around on this channel, as I have videos that I've already got in the archives, and there's more videos coming up as well that will be helping you with these things. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so.